First of two orientation meetings. If you are here tonight, you don't have to come to the orientation next week. It's just going to be a repeat. And then tonight is also going to be filmed. So if you have any questions or just want to watch through it again to get further clarification, you can ask for a link to this and we can get it to you. You are either in my class, I'm Mr. Berry. There's Mr. Bedwell that's in here. There's Ms. Holden that is in here.
Hello.
And then there's Mr. Neighbors, who is not joining us, but you can see his picture there up on the screen. So I'll just take you through some of the different modules and requirements for this course. We're not going to read through the entire syllabus, but I'll start there because there's a few things on the syllabus that I think are worth noting. If you have questions as we go through, you can either stop me or ask, or you could put it in the chat, and then I hope Mr. Bedwell or Ms. Holden could answer you in the chat, or interrupt me and address the whole group if I'm botching something here.
Awesome, thank you.
On the syllabus, as we scroll down and look here, one of the first things it says is course eligibility. You must be employed. You have to have a job because this work experience isn't something where we help connect you with a job or find you a job. You need to have employment to be able to get units for this course. And right below it, it says kind of the requirements for getting units. The vast majority of students, in my experience, have been paid employees, which would be this scale right here. You can qualify for 1 unit for every 75 hours you work. If you are volunteering, which I do have a few this semester that I've already spoken with, the requirements are slightly less stringent. It is 60 hours per unit of credit. With that said, this is kind of, it's an all or nothing in terms of grading. What I mean by that is if you sign up for 3 units, you would need 225 hours. If you only get to 150, you can't get 2 units of credit, and then that 3rd unit just goes away. You would get 0 credit. So you have to complete everything that you sign up for. I know you guys have already signed up for whatever units you're going to be taking at this point. I did have one student that this week was able to take a few units off because they signed up for 5, decided they were only going to be able to get 3. So they contacted their counselor and they were still able to remove those units. That might be ending tomorrow, or that might be ending kind of in the middle of next week. But if you're panicking a little bit saying, I don't think I'm going to meet the required hours, and you're not going to be close, I would contact my counselor ASAP and get some of those units taken off. The good thing is you can always add units in this course. Even if we get to the end of November and you decide, hey, I have enough hours for another credit, I'd like to do that. You can contact your counselor, you can pay for that unit, and you can add an additional unit. What you can't do is take any away. So if you're not sure, if you're on the fence, lowball it, and then you could add more units later. The only other thing that I would say about credits is if you're close and you're not sure if you're going to make it, but you're going to be kind of on the border, communicate with your instructor as early as you can, because there's a few things we can do. I had a student that came within about 15 hours. So I was able to kind of give an alternate assignment to make up some of those hours. Now we can't make up 60 or 70 hours, but if you're close, we can do something, but we don't know what's going to happen if you're not communicating with us. So communicate with your instructors, and here are the different, the amount of hours you have to work to get the credits. Your grade, the primary thing that you're doing is working. What we're trying to do is just ensure that you are working, verify that you are employed, and walk you through that process so you can get some credits in doing that. There's 6 main things you're going to see right here, and we'll go over these for how your grade adds up, for how we verify your employment. There's a syllabus quiz, the objective sheet, the visitation, the timesheet, your contract or your kind of evaluation form, and then the selfie. And we'll go over each of these right now. Okay, so starting out with the syllabus quiz. If you click here in modules, under your modules, you'll see all of them right here. Here's the syllabus quiz. It's a 10-point quiz. You can take it as many times as you'd like. You can keep retaking it until you get the grade that you want. If I were you, I would take this as soon as this meeting is done. This is how you're going to communicate to us that you are enrolled in this class, that you're planning on completing this class, that you're engaged, that we're going forward. If you don't complete this quiz by probably the end of next week, you're going to be hearing from us because we have to certify our rosters, and this is the best way for you to show us that you are engaged with the course. This quiz will take you less than 5 minutes. And like I said, you can take it multiple times. So that's a 10-point quiz. I would do that tonight if you haven't done it already. I've had several students already complete this. The next thing you're going to be working on would be your objective sheet. And you can find that right here under your forms, or you can click on objective sheet. And download the form. And it's going to look like this. This is an editable PDF for you. So you'll fill out the top. And what this objective form is you are going to come up with objectives that are specific to your job. And you're going to determine how you are going to meet those objectives. So by specific to your job, it's not one of my objectives is to make money. That's not specific to your job. So you can sit down with your supervisor for this if you'd like. They probably don't have time for that. If you want to just have a quick conversation with them and say, hey, I'm filling out some objectives. Is there anything you want me to be focusing on? Is there anything you want me to be working on? They may help you, give you some ideas here, or you could just do it on your own. So one example is, I know we have a couple students every year who work for Uber or Uber Eats. So one of your objectives for that may be you want to make sure that, if you're driving for Uber, you want to have a clean vehicle. One objective, I want to make sure my vehicle is clean. How are you going to accomplish that? Well, I'm going to make sure I start 10 minutes early. I'm going to clean all the trash out. I'm going to wipe down the back seat, and I'm going to make sure there's an air freshener in my car at all times, whatever that looks like. If you're in some sort of customer service, like restaurant, you're a waiter or a waitress, you're going to say, I want to greet every customer in a friendly manner. How are you going to do that? I'm going to do that by, and then you're going to tell us what you're going to do. So you're going to come up with 4 objectives. Your work supervisor will then sign this. So you're probably going to have to type them in here, and then you will print this out, take it to your supervisor. Your supervisor can sign it, and then you can upload it and submit it. If you just want to print this out and you want to write on here, you're more than welcome to do that. I would never do that because my handwriting is awful. It's chicken scratch. I would never do that to anybody. But if you have neat handwriting and you can make it legible, feel free to just handwrite it and then submit it. When you go to submit it, okay, sorry, my Zoom dashboard is getting in the way here. Let me move it. You can upload it to Canvas. The easiest way is probably just snap a picture of it and then convert it to a PDF. Now in Canvas right here, you can use GeniaScan to do it. If you click on modules, down at the bottom, there's a whole little tutorial on how to use GeniaScan. You can take a picture and you can convert it to a PDF and turn that in. If you take a picture with your phone, a lot of, yeah, was there a question? A lot of times if you submit a hike file, an HEIC file, we're not able to read it or view it. And if we can't view it, we can't give you a grade on it. So, oftentimes we'll just put 0 or we'll put 1, let you know, hey, we couldn't view it. And then you get it dialed in, send us a PDF, and then we'll give you full credit. So that's your objective sheet. And each instructor may be, slightly different, but these objective sheets really need to be turned in probably in the next 2 to 2.5 weeks. Okay, so your 2 items you need to take care of early on, your syllabus quiz and your objective sheet. These need to be completed. Syllabus quiz ASAP, objective sheet in the next few weeks. After you turn in your objective sheet, then it's just kind of on cruise control. You're going to be working and you are going to be filling out your timesheet. So again, under modules, we have our timesheet. If you view it here, it's another editable document. You'll submit your name, your employer. And then here's where you're going to fill in your hours. Don't wait till the end of the semester and then fill them in. You need to be filling it in as you go. Confirm with your instructor for exactly how they would like it filled out. I know for me, I highly discourage filling this out daily because you're going to need multiple timesheets. But I also don't want you filling in one entry every month. For me, I prefer once a week. So if you can fill this in once a week, that would be ideal. So like, let's say we're starting this week, it would be August 15th to August 21st. Your weekly hours, however many hours you worked, I worked 21 hours. A description or summary of duties. Don't need a paragraph, don't need complete sentences. Just be specific in kind of what you worked on that week. And for a lot of jobs, they're going to kind of be the same every week. For some jobs, they change. They're different, but for a lot of jobs, they may be the same. So you'll just fill out one entry each week as you go through. Like I said, it's important you don't wait till the end. Previously, we had a midterm timesheet assignment where you would turn it in halfway through. We would check your timesheet to make sure you were filling it out, you were on pace. We don't have that anymore, but we're going to be encouraging you throughout the semester to make sure you're filling that out. I know there'll be times when I say, hey, shoot me a copy of your timesheet. Let me see where you're at. So just keep it updated. After you have completed the amount of hours that you signed up for, you'll write your total hours. Your employer, your supervisor will sign this. If they have any comments to make, they can make them here. And then you will submit that the same way you submitted your objectives form. You know, if you only need one unit, you may have these 75 hours in the next 3-4 weeks. You could potentially be totally done with this course, you know, by the end of September, depending on what your goals are and how much you're working. So don't be discouraged from turning all this stuff in, getting checked out early. That's fine. When you've met the units you'd like, you're done. Okay, and then it shows right here exactly how many units you, or how many hours you need for the amount of units that you signed up for. If you work 2 jobs, which I know some of you do, again, confirm with your instructor because they may want something different, but I know I've always just had you put it on the same timesheet and then off to the side in the summary or description, you'll just kind of put the job. So maybe server job, here's what I did. Construction job, here's what I did. Server job, here's what I did. And you can keep it all on one timesheet together. As far as your work objectives and your supervisor's signature go, if you have 2 jobs, you do not have to turn in 2 separate objective forms. Whatever job you work more hours at, that's the one you'll be filling out the objectives for. That's the one where you'll be getting your employer's signature. And that's the one where you'll be filling out your evaluation, which will be the next step. So you don't need to do it from both employers, just the employee who is your primary source of hours for this course. Okay, so your timesheet, you can fill that out, turn it in. Back to modules. You have your exit contract and selfie. These 2 are together. You'll turn those in together in the same module, but we can take a look at exactly what that looks like.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
For those of us that have 2 jobs, for the exit contract, do we need to take 2 selfies with 2 employers or just the main one with the one that we get the most hours with?
Just the main one is fine. There's been a couple situations in the past where I've contacted both employers just to verify employment, but just your main one's fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, good question.
How do I know who my instructor is?
Yeah, you what?
How do I know who my instructor is?
You should be able to, if in Canvas, it should tell you who your instructor is, I believe. on your main page, or let me stop sharing real quick.
So on my main page, it gives me 4 names for instructors.
Okay, yeah, so that was just our kind of generic syllabus form where it has all 4 of our names. If you go into Web Advisor, that will tell you who your instructor is.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You got it. Okay. Go back to sharing. Okay, so you can copy and paste these objectives. The objectives you filled out at the beginning of the semester that you're going to do in the next week or two, same objectives right here. You can even fill this in for your supervisor if you'd like. I've evaluated your name. They work this many hours from this date to this date. And then what your supervisor is going to do, they're going to come in. So you'll print it out, give it to your supervisor. They will circle where you were at on each of those objectives. Obviously 4 being you did it great, 0 being you didn't do it at all. They'll come down here and they'll evaluate you in your general work habits. Okay, job competence, progress, working with others. And then they'll give you some strong points and they'll give you some points that need help. Okay, and sometimes one or both of these end up being blank. It all depends on whatever your supervisor fills out. You sign it and date it, your supervisor signs it and dates it, and then you submit that to us through Canvas. And we'll take care of this bottom part after you submit it to us. So that's step 1. And there's typically a question. There'll be a couple students that might be self-employed. You're an independent contractor. You do end up filling this out for yourself. You evaluate yourself. It's just a self-evaluation. But if you are self-employed, or specifically an independent contractor, a lot of like Uber Eats or Uber drivers, when you submit your timesheet, you can also take a screenshot from your dashboard, which verifies your hours. That way, you know, there's no funny business. You're saying, I'm my own boss. I worked 180 hours driving last week. Submit your timesheet along with a screenshot from your dashboard verifying your hours. You can submit those both together in your timesheet. So this would be your evaluation. And you would also submit a selfie. Let's go over exactly what that looks like. That was in the syllabus. So for your selfie, preferably it's going to be your place of employment with some sort of signage in the background or in the picture, if possible. Try and get it with your supervisor, manager, and or coworkers. It needs to be in your work environment. And this is just further evidence. If we were to ever be audited, this is further evidence that, yes, you are who you say you are. You did work at this place. It just goes in your file. So that is a graded assignment where you upload that selfie. So don't stress out over that, but try and get it at your workplace or in front of your workplace. If you have a uniform, in your uniform would be ideal with a manager, supervisor, or somebody else. So you've taken your syllabus quiz, you turned in your objective sheet, you turned in your time sheet, you turned in your contract, which is your evaluation, along with your selfie. The only other thing that you would see in the grade book is a visitation. I haven't been doing this too long. This is my 4th year doing this. And the first year I did this, we still had some in-person visitations. We would go to your place of employment and we would meet your supervisor, verify your employment, thank them for participating in the program and allowing you to fill out this paperwork on the job, and then we'd be on our way. The in-person visitations, you know, once COVID started, kind of went away, and I don't think they're necessarily coming back. This visitation may look different from instructor to instructor, or even from student to student. It's typically not going to be in person. What I do a lot of is I make a quick phone call. Hi, this is Matt Berry from Clovis Community. I have whatever the student's name is in work experience, and they work for you. How are they doing? I just want to verify employment. Thank you very much. That's it. It's a 20-second phone call. Occasionally, there might be a Zoom that's set up if there's an issue, if there's something that needs to be discussed, we'll set up a Zoom, or oftentimes I could verify employment without making a phone call or a Zoom. If I'm at your place of employment and I see you there, or if there's a website and you are listed on that website, there doesn't really need to be this visitation. So all over the syllabus, you're going to see where it talks about at the very end of the course, you need to set up this visitation and take responsibility for making this happen. Like right here, all students are required to arrange a time and a date and complete the final visitation prior to finals week. It's not the teacher's responsibility. So what this looks like for me is after you've turned in your timesheet and your evaluation and your selfie, I either give you the visitation grade or I contact you and say, hey, I'm going to contact this person, so-and-so, when would be a good time to call in? So we'll be on the same page there. The visitation piece is no longer, we're going to every person's place of employment. So communicate with us about that. But we're not going to be going in person. One of the last things that I want to reference is kind of a time frame for getting that end of the semester stuff done. You can get it done as soon as you want, meaning if you're done with your hours halfway through the semester, turn all that stuff in and be done with it. But in the worst case scenario, we are not going to be collecting or going over or doing any of this stuff during finals week. So it all needs to be in at least the week before that, on that, Thursday or Friday, which means you should not be going to your supervisors that final Friday saying, hey, I need you to fill this out today, because it may take some time. It may take a couple days. They may be out of town. So you can start to get that stuff gathered and together even before you've met all of your hours. You're getting close. Okay, we're near the end of the semester. Now I can start to get this evaluation form. You can get your selfie dialed in. You can start to get some of that stuff taken care of. If it really comes down to the wire and you're going to need some of the hours in that last week of the semester, just communicate with your instructor and say, hey, I'm going to put down, 7 hours for next week because I need those last 7 hours. You can verify with my employer that I'm going to do them, but I'll put that on the timesheet. You can't do that for a month, but you can do that for that final week if needed. What am I missing? Questions, Tanner? Ms. Holden, what did I miss here?
No, sounded great to me.
I think you got everything. The only thing that I would remind people is that the job is required. I've had a couple students think that they're going to switch jobs in the middle of the semester and have something go wrong and all of a sudden not have the hours at the end of the semester. So that could be an issue.
Yeah, and again, communicate with us. We understand things happen and life happens, and maybe your hours are, especially that first year of COVID, people's hours were getting cut back, people were getting laid off. It was a crazy time. Just communicate with us and we'll see what we can do. Our job is to help you problem solve and help you figure out how to navigate this course and get these units. You guys are all high achievers because you're willing to work and you're willing to go to school and do everything else that you guys are doing. But don't go dark on us and just disappear and not respond and not communicate. We want to help you, but we need it to be a conversation. So we need to know what's going on. It's a good time for questions. If you guys have any, you can unmute and ask away.
What about the people that are volunteering or are considered volunteering? How does that work for supervisor when there really isn't one?
Yeah, so if you're volunteering, typically first thing you do, just communicate with your instructor because it's kind of different. There's all sorts of different ranges of volunteer, from taking care of family members in certain situations to I'm going to go down and work at the soup kitchen. So how your supervisor is going to sign you off, how you're going to get those hours dialed in is going to look different for student to student. So if you are volunteering and you are getting those hours, just communicate with your instructor and they can kind of give you the exact way that they'd like to see it all taken care of.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Welcome.
I have a question.
Yeah, Ruby.
Do I still have to take a selfie even if my picture's on our company's website?
So the
What was
picture
the
that's on,
question?
yeah, I mean, just because what this is even though
Yeah.
we can go to the internet, we can go access it, we need it in the file. So if your company picture is on the company website and it's clearly, I mean, you can maybe even take a screenshot of that website and upload that. That would be fine, but just give us something that has your image, the company logo, just verifying that you are an employee of that place and put it in Canvas because that's kind of your file to verify employment.
And that's kind of for our protection also, because the college requires, that's how we cover our part of it.
Okay.
We could take a picture of our like badge for work.
Yeah, like a selfie, if you could take a selfie, if your selfie could include your place of employment somehow, like if you work at a restaurant, in front of the restaurant or with your manager on the serving line or something, if you work in a store, some way that we can tell that you're at work. And if you had your supervisor with you, that'd be amazing.
Okay.
So even like in your uniform with your supervisor, that would be cool.
Okay. We'll
And
see.
if you can't have your supervisor with you in front of the building that you work in or whatever, that's fine too.
And I
Okay.
know it's not ideal. I mean, we've had students who couldn't, literally were not allowed to take pictures inside their place of employment. So we figured something out. I mean, if you have a special circumstance where you are unable to do that, or you're a remote worker or whatever the case is, again, just communicate with us on those special circumstances and we can get it figured out. I mean, remote workers, oftentimes you're going to take a picture, just your home workspace where you're working from with, maybe a Zoom going in the background or your company logo or something. We'll do the best we can.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I do have a quick question.
Okay.
What about for those who are caregivers but don't have a supervisor and their clients sign off their timesheets?
Jennifer, who's
Yeah,
your
so
supervisor?
I have a couple. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Who's your instructor?
Tanner.
Me? Perfect.
Yeah.
Send me an email, let me know what's going on and we'll address it. Because there's
Oh.
different ways that we can do it. We just got to figure out, we'll make it
Okay.
work.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right.
And then for Barry,
Yes,
I said your name correctly. If I'm working 2 jobs, you said I could include it on the same timesheet, right?
correct. Just one timesheet. Yep.
Okay, and then for the paperwork that my supervisor has to fill out, just pick my main supervisor from the job I work the most.
Yeah, whatever job you work the most. And then if the hours are close, just pick the supervisor you like better.
Okay, great.
Yep.
And then, Mr. Barry, so, I don't know if they hear me. Oh wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, I'll be employed by California Teaching Fellows, but then I'll be working at an elementary school. So then, like, who would be my supervisor, like my teacher or like my employer?
Yeah, so probably contact me after so we can verify that in a couple different ways. I mean, if you are with California Teaching Fellows, but who would be evaluating you? Probably the teacher you're working with or the supervisor on your site. So that would
Yes.
probably be the one to fill that out for you.
Okay, thank you.
But email me and so I can look and be a little more specific and see what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
And then Mr. Bedwell, so I work 2 jobs. Well, I'm going to. My second job starts in 2 weeks. And for the objective sheet, it's supposed to be turned in 2 or 2.5 weeks. So would I just have my other job supervisor sign that, even though I'd be working at the other job more. Like once I start, I'm going to be working more hours for them than this other job.
Yeah, I would fill it out are you gonna keep this other job throughout the semester? Are you
Yeah, I'm
keep
going to
your
work
jobs?
two. Yeah, both of them throughout.
All right, then I would go ahead and do it with the job that you currently have. That way we know that your supervisor is gonna be able to sign everything and do things throughout the semester. And then if you end up with more hours at the other job, that's fine.
So would
Since you
I
haven't started yet?
So would I switch the supervisors when I start the
No.
other one, or no? Just keep it?
No, just
Okay.
keep it, because what's gonna happen is your objectives, the 4 objectives that you write, that's what they're gonna evaluate you on at the end of the semester.
Okay.
So you want to keep the same supervisor in the same job for your objectives and your exit contract.
Okay, perfect.
Since you haven't started the other job, go ahead and fill it out for the one that you have that way. And then we'll take the hours from the other one too when you start.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So Elijah asked a question about, do your supervisors have to sign the papers by hand? They do not. I mean, if your supervisor is in a totally different location, rather than, sending, or in the older days, faxing or doing whatever, they can put a digital signature on there. But typically when I see a digital signature, and it's not a bad thing, that just ensures that I'm also going to be contacting the employer directly to verify employment. So digital signatures are absolutely okay. Like hand signatures are best when you are able to get them, but we're not always able to get them. So we'll roll with it if we can.
Is there any other questions? Ethan? Unmute yourself, Ethan. We can't hear you. Yeah.
Working on it. Got it.
All right, just type it in there then, Ethan. We'll read it. No, it does not. Just like Mr. Barry was saying earlier, just pick the one that you like the best.
Yeah, whoever's easiest to get with is fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Perfect.
Yep, you're good. Well, if you have questions, feel free to stick around. We'll be here for a few minutes. If you don't have any questions, that's it. Go take that syllabus quiz and work on those objectives and get those turned in. Communicate with your instructors, say hello, and good luck this semester. Let us know how we can help.
And I am actually, Mr. Barry and everybody, I'm supposed to be in a coaches meeting right now. I'm actually at school. So if you guys are in my class and you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll get back to you right away. It goes to my cell phone. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good
I'll
night.
see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Just got a message about adding the class.
Thank you.
Yes, it is not too late to add. Let me send you a message here.
So McKenna, go ahead and stay on this Zoom call and I can talk to you when everybody's done.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm just getting one other piece of information here. Or you know what? How this. Okay. So that was it for me, and I'm not sure, Joshua and Marissa, I don't know if you're still here, just waiting for questions.
I was just looking at the syllabus. I couldn't find how many hours is one unit again?
For paid employment, 75.
75K.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I
volunteer
think
60.
You're with me, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're my
Yeah.
teacher. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, 60 hours for volunteer and then 75 for paid employment.
Okay. Thank you. I was just making sure. That's what I thought.
Yep, no problem. Okay, that's it. Taking off. Any questions? Send me an email.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Are you there, McKenna? Oh, there you are.
Okay, so I'm part of the Old Town Kiwanis Club
Okay.
because I help my grandma with it. So I do volunteer work with them. Like, for example, there's the senior citizen, stuff like that. I
Mhm.
help do meals, or I help at Buchanan's High School Carnival. And
Perfect.
I also work at Panera. So do you
Okay.
want me to do 2 separate sheets?
No, so tell me this. Okay, you're signed up for 2 units, so that would be 150 hours. Do you need both volunteer and paid to get those 150 hours?
I do because I only work Tuesdays and Thursdays at Panera, and they usually don't schedule me both days. It's like a hit or miss.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to think about that for a second because the requirements are different. So like your paid, you would have to do 75. But if it was all volunteer, you would only have to do 60. So, but you said you,
Could I was gonna suggest I could do all volunteer.
yeah, then
or
it would
all
only
work.
be, it would only be 120.
Okay, so I could do all my volunteer work, or I can do I can see which one I get the most of.
Good idea.
And then I can go from there and see how many hours I need more. And then can I add the extra hours from like volunteer or the opposite?
Absolutely. That's how we'll do it. So
You wanna
if
do it
the
that way?
majority, yeah, so if the majority of your hours are volunteer and we start going through the semester and you need more, then just put in your work ones. And
Okay.
then, or vice versa.
Right.
So you should have
Okay.
no problem. Since you have 2 different jobs, you're gonna make it for sure. It'll just look trickier. So probably what we'll do is just fill out your timesheet, and on that one timesheet, do both of
So
them.
I printed out 2, so I
Yeah.
can have one for volunteer, one for work, and then I can combine them or
Yeah,
just.
no,
see.
just put everything on one. And then
Okay.
on the comments part, that's how you'll distinguish what, and you don't even have to say these are paid, these are volunteer. Just tell me what you did at that job. And then as we
Okay.
get close to the end of the semester, if you and I need to have a conversation, we will.
Okay, so now for the meeting in person, is that you come in person and meet my employer? Like, I was trying to understand that.
So we used to do that, and then COVID hit, and so we stopped doing that. So from my understanding, the selfie with your supervisor, that's how I do it, is when I see that selfie with your supervisor at your work, then I give you the visitation points. I don't make calls, I just assume that everything that you guys upload is the truth. And then once I see a picture, I mean, if you went and found someone off the street, that's on you.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so leading up to that, my Canvas isn't letting me upload images on this account for some reason. Like, it's not letting me add it to, how can I phrase it, to the add-ons. Like, it didn't even let me do the PDF. My brother's in the same class, but with Mr. Barry, and he had to email it to me. That's how I was able to get the printables. So I was wondering, do you want me email it to you?
No, that's really weird because I can't, like, everything
How do you
has
want me
to
to give
be
it to you?
on
Yeah.
Canvas. Yeah, so that's really weird. How come he can get on and you can't? Do you know?
I don't.
That's weird. Can he maybe help you with that to see if he can
Because
figure it out?
if he can't figure it out, like I said, I suggest email, or I can maybe say, I'm McKenna Jogi, I'm in a different class. This is my instructor.
Yeah, that won't work either. How about let's do this, okay? See if he can figure it out. If he cannot figure it out, then contact me again. And because I think I've had a situation kind of similar to this. So what I'll probably try and do is download it and then I'll upload it myself. Anyways,
Okay, cool.
we'll figure it out one way or the other. So just
Okay,
make sure
perfect.
we communicate, like you're like, okay, Mrs. Holden, I have my objective sheet. I have no way to get it up there. I'm gonna email it to you.
Okay, and now besides manager, do you want a picture with the club president? Will that help instead of like a
No,
supervisor
basically-
for the volunteer?
Yeah, basically, so who are you gonna have sign your objectives, volunteer or paid?
Most likely my pay.
Okay, so then whoever signs your work objectives is the same person who has to fill out your contract and the same person that you take a picture with. So if it's easier to use your volunteer hours, then do that. But they're supposed to technically, the objective, the contract, and the selfie should all be the same person.
Okay,
And you can decide, it doesn't matter which one it is.
right. Sounds good. And if I have any questions, I'll email you.
Yep, sounds perfect.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.